So apparently the calls for Reneto Adams to end his retirement and take up the post of Commissioner of Police is growing louder and louder as more and more people are taken out by mongrels, right? By criminals. Now, honestly, I don't believe that Reneto Adams is the answer to our problems, and hear me out. Reneto's style of policing will never see the light of day in the JCF ever again, right? The heavy-handed approach to crime fighting that Reneto Adams is known for before he went into retirement is long gone. Them days they're done. Adams dedicated 41 years of his life to the Jamaican people, and he retired in 2008. 2 years, right? 2 whole years before the establishment of Indicom. One of the best decisions he had ever made. Now 41 years, I think, right? I think is enough. He did enough, and he did all he could with the little time and resources that he had at his disposal. So I believe he should enjoy his retirement. Not many officers retire and live long enough, right, to enjoy it and spend time with family. And it wouldn't be a good look to see Indy come haul and pull the old timer all over the place, right, at his current age. Now, as I see the calls for his return, it got me thinking, what is the expectation here? Like, really? What people expect Reneto Adams to come do at this stage in the game? In all honesty, if the expectation is that Reneto Adams is gonna magically fix crime, that's nothing but a farce and a fallacy, and people need to wake up and smell the coffee. No, Reneto Adams doesn't need to come back. It is no secret, right, that Reneto Adams is one of the most feared police officers during his time that he served in the JCF, and he's arguably Jamaica's most famous police officers of all time. And it is not because of the policing that he did and the risk that he took, right, that made him famous, but he was always been one who is frank, right, and direct. Yes, we all love the no-nonsense, tough-talking personality of Reneto Adams. Yeah, man. We love the way he went about driving fear in the hearts of mongrels wherever he went. But let's be honest, did it really help in reducing crime? Check the numbers, right? Because numbers don't lie. Anyway, regardless of that, at the end of the day, in terms of his philosophy and his imposing presence, I love that about him, right? But in my mind, the reality is that Reneto's story has been told. Reneto Adams is done. As much as we love to see him return, I think what that does is it takes away from the opportunity to see more capable persons take up the mantle. Because here's one thing to keep in mind, guys. No one man can wake up one day, right, and decide, oh, I am going to fix crime today. That no make no sense, right? Because it is impossible. If you think that he's gonna put on his Superman cape, fly around Jamaica and take out every mongrel, right? All the mongrels that he can find, and suddenly the murder rate is gonna come crashing down. Links RP over Politics Watch, right? He has 2-for-1 specials and unicorns. Guys, the reality is, for the past 50 to 60 years, crime's been on the rise, right? There's no quick fix, no one man can stop crime. But would it be cool to see Adams returning? I guess, right? But Adams dedicated 41 years of his life to the JCF and attained the rank of superintendent. And even so, he was unable to reduce the murder rate when he was in his prime, rolling like thunder and clapping like lightning. And I know you expect, right, that he's going to come and work miracles in his golden age. That's a bit of a stretch of the imagination. I respect his contribution to crime fighting, but frankly speaking, I can't see how Reneto Adams sitting behind a desk, right, as Commissioner of Police is going to help reduce crime when he wasn't able to, right, when he was active in the field. So, in all honesty, Adams' story has been told. The Commissioner's job is not to lead charges up a hill with the rifle in hand. He's in charge of all police activities from administration to operations, right? But charging across battlefields is not in his purview. Commissioners don't hunt mongrels. Commissioners don't go on operations. Kicking in doors at 3 a.m. in the morning, doing carding and search. That is what I do. So if that is what you expect Adams to do, as me said before, links RP for specials and some unicorn made. Back in the day, Adams had the freedom to work without the hassle of some civilian oversight body breathing down his neck every time him lift up him rifle after some mongrel. That's not the case today, guys. So what we need as a country is not Reneto Adams. It's entirely possible that Adams can be the difference to bridge the gap between citizens and the police. But even so, the JCF has capable men and women in its rank, right, who in my opinion can do a better job. Reneto Adams is cool, but brute force alone is not enough to contain, right, and control crime. Jamaica is not short of top crime fighters, but that alone is not enough. But the thing is, right, to some Jamaicans, Adams will always be the man. And honestly, most of that is just nostalgia because we grew up seeing how he drove fear in the hearts of mongrels wherever he went. And so, if for no other reason than the fact that we have these nostalgic feels, we'll always hear people, right, saying nobody is better than Adams, right? Like, take me for example. I say no music is better than 90s music. There's no arguing that, right? It is an absolute point. I mean, it's like not even a debatable thing. But that's because I grew up in the 90s. Nostalgia, guys, right? But the thing about that is, if you take away the fact that Adams has this really superimposing personality and you look at the man himself, you would realize that there's way more interesting police officers in the JCF, right, that can take up the mantle. Now take DCP Fitzbailey, for example. He's a ridiculously capable police officer. Now, in all honesty, I know a lot of you out there would love the idea of Adams returning, and I totally understand that. He was a great crime fighter, right? He was feared in the criminal underworld. And it was an awesome thing knowing that wherever he went, some old mongrel somewhere would be too busy being dead to regret ever taking up the gun. And so I feel like most of the desire to see Adams return is really based more on the things that we heard he did and the moments we experience is tough talking interviews, as opposed to the motivation in finding a definite way of solving crime. There's a lot more possibilities out there other than Adams. And so what I think our discussions really should be is, what are some of the changes that can be made to how we mobilize and deploy law enforcement officers in our hotspot and our crime-prone areas, and how can we engage and incorporate the citizens to assist with our efforts to locate, to displace and dismantle gangs and gang members. Because here's one cool thing, right, to keep in mind, guys, right? I've talked about this before. It's something I avidly believe in. Criminals are the minority among us, causing the majority of the problem. Most victims of crime are criminals, right? All mongrels. This average out to about 80%. So what we really need is serious tools being given to the commissioner. Those being the correct number of boots on the ground and laws that are in keeping with a country at war with criminal elements. Crime have its intricacies. It's not one thing. It's a myriad of different factors, and so one solution cannot control crime. Solving crime must be a concerted effort involving all stakeholders, agencies, NGOs, and so forth, right? It involves government employing a good, workable short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategy to fight crime. You can't fight crime by just going after guns and the mongrels who carry them, right? More mongrels will just rise up and take their place, and the guns will just keep coming. So you start at the source, cut the access to the firearms, cut access to ammunition, right? Because guns can't fire without ammunition, right? You can't fire a gun if you don't have any, right? Put in the proper legislation and add lengthy mandatory sentences for all gun-related crimes. Take the discretion of judges out of the equation because them don't make no sense. Next, you target the youths in the garrison and uplift their living condition and see to it that they stay in school, right? We have a serious problem in education which has contributed to the end product, where we are struggling as a people, as a country, to fight crime and to cauterize it. Educated people who are gainfully employed and are getting on with their lives, are far less likely to be criminals. Far less likely. So the focus here should be a more robust, right, effort being placed in ensuring that kids stay in school. I believe what we also need is the strengthening of the laws to hold parents accountable for their kids being out of school and make it mandatory for kids to be off the street at a certain hour. We also have to deal with the social and cultural issues, and at the same time we continue the hunt for the hardened mongrels who are determined to take another person's life. These are not same day fixes, guys, but these are some things that we as a people should be focusing on, rather than expecting that Reneto Adams is going to come and fix the problem we have been having for decades. The mindset of the people have to change same way, right? Crack down on the things that are causing the decay of morality in our society. We have to get our people better informed. Their perception has to change in terms of feeling it necessary to assist the police in doing their jobs effectively. People have to start making decisions and start supporting the police for good of country. Most importantly, embrace the idea that the gang problem is a war between us and them that needs to be won. The reality we face is Jamaicans are likely to die violently, right? Primarily because of gangs. Some good people are going to be in that group. Maybe you or maybe your son. So the end of the crisis begins with the death of self-interest. Start making decisions and start supporting the decisions for good of country. Solving crime is one of those things that is heavily dependent on the community and the cooperation of the people. The police alone cannot do it, and government alone cannot do it. It takes an all-inclusive and cohesive approach from all angles, right, to tackle crime and be successful at it. So do we need Reneto Adams for that? Definitely not. We just need the proper tools to do our jobs and do it efficiently and effectively, and give the police the proper resources and backing supported by updated laws. Guys, I would love to know, what are your thoughts, right? What do you think of Adams returning? Now, like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And guys, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Blessings.